everyone, Jen Holt here at Inspired by Purpose to bring you your pose of the day. Today's pose is called Trikonasana or triangle pose. It's a standing pose, so we work on strength building through the legs, the ankles, the feet. We get a lot of strength building through the core. We also get some stretching through the backs of the legs on the hamstrings and the calves. And we have opportunity to stretch through the upper body, the chest, the shoulders, the upper back, depending on what variation you take. So let's go over some modifications and variations you can explore. I have here a yoga block. Also, I have a chair, and I'll show you how you can use these things to support your practice. So we're gonna start by taking a wide-legged stance. So taking the feet a little bit wider apart, or it could be a lot wider apart. The distance between your 2 feet can make a big difference in how the pose feels. It tends to be a lot more challenging when the feet are wider apart and a little bit easier when the feet are closer together. So you can play with that a little bit and see what works well for you for now. And you can always work on expanding out when you're ready for a bigger challenge. Think about aligning shoulders and hips. So make sure that we're not rotating through the hips or the shoulders in any way. You might imagine that your back was against a wall. And in fact, if you wanted to, you could bring your back against a wall just to really feel that alignment. Now we're gonna keep the same alignment through the legs, the hips, the shoulders, but we're gonna find a hip rotation through the right side. You might take your hands on your hips just to observe what happens through your hips as that right foot turns out. If you felt that left hip coming forward, we're gonna try to see if we can bring it back, and you can either bring it back to a wall if you're using a wall for your practice, or drawing it back against an imaginary wall that you're pretending is behind you. Both legs are straight, left back toes facing toward the long edge of the mat, front right toes facing toward the short edge of the mat. Shoulders, hips aligned. Now to come into the pose, typically we reach the arms out. Today, I'm gonna have you keep your hands on your hips just to play with it and just to really notice what's happening through the hips as we come into this pose. So think about standing up a little bit taller. See if you can lift the top of the head up a little bit higher. Then as you exhale, we're gonna come into it. So we're gonna start to rotate through the upper body or lean the upper body toward that right leg. Now what you're gonna notice here is that I'm keeping both sides of my body long. Often when we come into this pose, especially when we're reaching out through the arms and coming down, this is what tends to happen. And if you can see this, there's a rounded shape through my side body. So ideally, we want to try to keep that side body long. One way that you can assist yourself in finding that is taking that right hand or thumb and assisting the hips to rotate back a little bit. Keep the hips open so both the tops of the pelvis are still facing forward. There's not a rotation. It's taking hips back. Both sides of the body are long, and I'm trying to keep my shoulders aligned. So again, you could use your wall here, pressing the top shoulder back. Now, if you're ready for a little bit more, you can start to extend the arms out. So arms extend in opposite directions. It's a strong core engagement to reach the top of the head and keep both sides of the body long. You also want to even out the weight through the feet. So we don't want all the body weight dumping to this front right leg. Push more weight back to that back foot so it can help you out. We've got some variations with the arms here. That top left arm could come to the hip. It could extend up. It could come over the ear, or you could take what's called a half bind by bringing the back of the hand to the lower back. The right hand, we're not dumping weight into it. Again, that's gonna cause a lot of round here, and we're not getting our core engagement if we do that. It's helpful to take the back of the hand onto the inner thigh or the calf or the knee, wherever your hand lands, and use that to think about pivoting that top shoulder up and back. Now, you can also use support here. Depending on how low your hand can go, you can either use a block or a chair or even a table. Whatever else you have in your home is okay. So I'll start with the chair. If you're using that, your foot will be slightly under the chair. You can see that. Both legs stay straight throughout this practice. Hips facing toward the front, shoulders, hips aligned. We come forward, keeping both sides of the body long. Right hand plants on the seat of the chair. Left hand, same options. On the hip, reaching up over the ear for extension or around the back for your half bind. Half bind is going to give you a little bit more shoulder and chest opening. Extension will give you a little bit more core engagement. Now, if you're ready for a deeper bend, that's where you might be able to use your block. And I'll say this too, sometimes we put the block inside the foot when we're doing this pose. The thing with that is sometimes when we put the block inside the foot, we'll have this tendency to lean or rotate forward. So it might help you to bring the block behind the foot on the outer edge of the foot, and then think about pivoting the top shoulder up. So stacking wrist, shoulder, shoulder, wrist, all in one alignment, reaching the top of the head away. So keeping that side body long. This is our triangle shape. We want to keep a triangle. We don't want a rounded shape here that's more of a pizza pie, right? So we want a big triangle. So you can hold here, and remember, the block goes different heights. So right now I have it on its highest setting. When I'm ready to advance or to go a little bit deeper, I can take it down a little bit lower or all the way down. One day I might be all the way down to the mat, or there are variations where you hold on to your big toe, and then we get a little bit more extension through the shoulders. So that was our pose today, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Key points, make sure both legs stay straight, core stays engaged, back stays long and strong, shoulders stacked. Whatever variation you're taking, whether you're using a wall, a block, or a chair, or nothing, we still want to keep those things in alignment, and we use our props to help us maintain that alignment. Stay for a few breaths on each side, and then you can choose if you'd like a little bit more or if you're ready to come out. If you have any questions, please leave them for me in the comments. I'd love to answer those for you. I hope to see you here in studio soon, or you can always join us virtually from wherever you are. I hope you're taking good care of yourselves, and I hope you have a great day. See you soon.